Hello, it's Pat Sutton. I'm so glad that you decided to come and listen to me again. It's great, and I just like to think that people are getting something from what I've got to say. And I don't preach or anything, I just tell you how I feel about things and how I feel that things can be better for people of our age. The first thing I wanted to talk about is how to exercise but in a painless way. And I'll tell you a story. I've got this kettle, and it's the most awful old kettle, and I've had it for quite a while, and it takes ages to boil, and everybody says to me, why don't you buy a new kettle? And I just don't want to, because I've sort of got a routine with my kettle. I put the kettle on, and it takes so blooming long to boil that I find myself sort of doing things. So I'd go and empty the dishwasher, or I'd do other things. But what I've got into the habit of doing is a few squats and a few leg lifts. And for the few minutes that kettle takes to boil, I've done a few squats and a few leg lifts, holding onto the sink still. And one day I might be able to do it without holding onto the sink, but at the moment I have to hold onto the sink. And every time I boil that kettle, then I do a few squats and a few leg lifts. So if I boil it 6 times a day, then I do little exercises 6 times a day. And I find that I've got into this little routine. In fact, if I boil the kettle and I've got to do something else while it's boiling, it's sort of out of my routine. I find it a bit strange because I've got so used to doing it. So I find that sort of a painless way of doing a few exercises. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was when we're sort of with all the family and everybody is having a good time, we don't tend to really enjoy ourselves as much as we should, because I think we try to please everybody. I personally am going to try to stop doing. I'm just going to stop trying to please everybody all of the time. And most of the people around me now are adults. Even the kids know what they want. They don't need you to go and say, oh, can I help you this way? Can I do this? Can I do that? In fact, I remember when my mum was like that it'd get on my nerves. And I'd say, oh, Mum, I'm fine, And I think that's one thing I've made a pact that I'm not going to do anymore. I'm not going to worry about pleasing everybody. I'm going to let people sort themselves out. If they want me to help them, they know that I'll always be there for them. So that's my next sort of, I suppose, a little resolution. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is, I think it's hard because I live a long way from my family and I miss them a lot, a real lot. But they've all got their lives to lead. And when I decided to move to France, I did get a little bit of stick from my daughter, but by the same token, she's a young family. She's got young children. Who knows what's going to happen in her life? I could go and move into the house next door. And I have lived next door to her a few times. But if I did that and I up sticks and said, right, I'm coming back. I'm missing the family. I'm coming back. I'm going to live next door. But then I'm living next door and then she's tied. She's going to think, what can we do? If we decided we wanted to emigrate to Australia or something, we couldn't do it because Mum's up sticks and come here and she's living next to me now. So I really think that that's another thing that we need to start thinking about, is that we have to do our own thing, all of us, no matter how old you are. Just remember, it's better to just let people do their own thing and don't try to make everybody happy all of the time, because it is impossible.